Hi there, Astra here.
Nova here.
Welcome back to another episode of Starlit. We have our ciders, we have our avocado toast, and we are ready to talk about some of our science pet peeves. Today, we are going to talk about the science in science fiction, specifically how science is treated in sci-fi shows. We are both very big fans of sci-fi. We love Star Trek, Star Wars, The Expanse.
Star Wars.
We love The Expanse. We love Marvel. A little
That's
too
true.
much. If it's sci-fi, we've probably watched it. We probably have opinions. Even DC, like, one of the examples is going to be from Flash.
Yeah, we gave up on DC, though.
So first of all, my biggest pet peeve is when so-called fans of a sci-fi show get really, really angry when the sci-fi show gets the science wrong. That's not their job. First of all, science fiction is barely science. Like, it really should be called speculative fiction because it's just imagining a different society in a future. Like, you don't really need to have science to be science fiction. For example, The Giver, adds one pill that makes everybody see black and white, and that's it.
I mean, Doctor Who is a great example of the very extreme fantasy end of...
Yeah. Is Doctor Who sci-fi or science fiction?
People call it sci-fi. I think it's fantasy.
Yeah, I think Doctor Who is fantasy. We love it still. We also love fantasy. We love ourselves some Merlin. We love ourselves some Gallivant. We watched that one show about Nimue, the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, Cursed. It wasn't
great. Yeah, we watched that
but...
show. We loved it. We had such a good time. We watch a lot of TV. But, going back to the roots of sci-fi, the inventor of the genre, Mary Shelley, when she wrote Frankenstein, she was not writing an instruction manual for how to take a bunch of corpses and make a living person. That doesn't work. The thing was powered by, lightning or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I read that once.
In all the movie adaptations, it's powered by lightning. I have never actually read the book. I've seen a bunch of TV shows, a bunch of movies. It's been adapted a million times. I probably should read the book.
I read it in English lit. I don't remember it too well.
Toast to Mary Shelley.
Cheers.
Even Mary Shelley wasn't trying to teach you how to reanimate a corpse. It was powered by lightning. It doesn't work. Scientifically, it's bogus. But that's okay. It's about the future implications. It's about the moral questions. Science fiction is not how we predict the future or write about science. It is how we satirize or examine current issues of the day. Ray Bradbury wasn't predicting the future. He was looking around and being like, hey, we seem to hate books and have a bunch of wall TVs, and soon everybody's going to be listening to podcasts nonstop. Yes, did Fahrenheit 451 predict earphones, predict massive televisions, predict the anti-intellectual movement? No, it didn't predict those things. Those things were already around. He just took everything and took it to its logical conclusion. Anyway, it wasn't about science. So if your sci-fi show gets some science thing slightly wrong, it's fine. If the technobabble is meaningless, it's fine. If they want to run around on the mycelial network, teleporting via magic mushrooms, you know what? Fine. Tilly's great. I love Tilly. I watch Discovery for Tilly. She's amazing.
So this brings me to my opinion on the matter. I completely agree with your initial point that
the show isn't terrible.
No, or that writing off a show completely or aggressively hating on a show just because it gets some things wrong, I think that is unnecessary.
It's
and
gatekeeping.
It's gatekeeping, but more importantly, it misses the point.
Mm-hmm.
That being said... a lot of science fiction suffers from what I will call lazy writing. And as someone who is relatively scientifically literate, it is kind of like being a lawyer watching a lawyer show or a doctor watching a doctor show.
Wait, you mean the medical dramas don't get everything right? Who knows? We're not doctors.
Yeah, it's true. It all goes over my head. But I've been told that they get stuff wrong.
You mean House conducting those, like, random invasive surgeries without any consent forms?
Oh, yeah.
Or, like...
The idea of speculative fiction is great. And if you have an idea that doesn't really mesh with the exact predictions of science, that probably is a bit of a stretch from a technological standpoint and so on, fine. That's fine.
You could also just write fantasy. There's nothing wrong with fantasy. Like, fantasy's great. I'll watch your show.
The thing that irritates me is what I will call lazy technobabble, and when you have something in your script that isn't a major plot point, but is highly Googleable and just plain wrong.
Give us an example.
For example, this one gets to me. I love Star Trek Voyager.
Big disclaimer, we are huge fans of Star Trek Voyager. Is the
Janeway's great.
Janeway, badass. We love her. 7 of 9, probably should have worn some loose-fitting clothing. But you know what? We're enjoying it. Is the writing bad?
7 of 9, well, irks me because they made her into a TNA character, but...
And she could have been so cool.
Yep.
Jerry Ryan, we love her. We haven't seen Picard yet, but we're very excited. They gave her clothes. We love it when they give the actors clothes.
Voyager's great. It suffers from some pretty bad writing in places, but it's a classic.
We love it.
However, there is one episode, and I'm sure a fan in the comments can tell me which one.
Probably Robert. Robert's probably going to tell us which one.
In this episode, there is some issue because, and I cannot... There is an issue because there is all of this EM radiation coming from a dark matter nebula.
For those of you not in the know, EM radiation, or electromagnetic radiation, is called light. Now, why do they call things dark matter?
The thing with dark matter is it is, as we know it now, mass that we have inferred to exist, but it does not emit any light.
You mean it's dark?
As far as we can tell, it does not interact with EM radiation in any way whatsoever.
That's why we can't see it.
Yeah.
So EM radiation coming from a dark matter nebula is, unfortunately, a painful oxymoron. What would you suggest as a replacement for something so obviously wrong?
So here's the thing. I'm not against making some science up as long as you're making up something new that doesn't exist. It's when you take existing science and you just butcher it that it really bothers me. So instead of saying EM radiation coming from a dark matter nebula, make up a particle. Anything you want.
And we're gonna have a little speed round where we teach you how to make a particle. So, say I want blank radiation, and I know that there's alpha and beta and gamma radiation. I know. I'll pick a Greek letter.
There you go. Not alpha, beta, or gamma. Those exist.
Pick a Greek letter that doesn't already have radiation and add radiation. So, like, epsilon radiation.
There you go. In fact, Star Trek has delta and theta radiation.
Yeah.
I have no idea what these things are. They're made up.
Yeah, it's
That's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, we like it.
I think they have delta radiation. I know they have theta radiation. There was an episode about that.
There are also other ways to invent particles if you run out of Greek letters with your radiation. Pick anything and add on to it. For example, give me a category.
Colors.
Colors, okay. Blue on, red on, green on, yellow on, purple on,
Purpon is better.
purpon. Oh, give me another category.
Trees.
Okay, oak on, ponderosa on, no, ponderosan,
Ponderosan is better.
ponderosan, maple on, no, maison. Oh, maison, it already exists, see? Scientists already do this. Ooh, hun, do desserts.
Well. Sorry.
Ice cream on, fudge on,
Brown on. That's also a color.
Yeah, we got Tardon,
Cake-on.
Pion.
That one already exists.
Dang it! See, scientists are already doing this.
Pion is really named for the Greek letter pi.
You can have pions and also pi irradiation. You can have whatever you want. Do fruits.
Apple-on.
Banana-on.
Orange-on.
Maybe it should be banana-on.
Banana-on.
Pineapple-on.
Pineapon.
Pineapon. Yes, pineapon. What are other fruits?
Limon.
Limon. Lemon?
Yeah, Lebanon sounds too much like Lebanon.
Yeah, lemon. Yeah,
Lemon. It's a lemon.
Baryon
Already exists.
You can just make things up. You could honestly have a particle that's just rock on. It makes everybody super, super hype. You just have a whole storyline that's just, oh yeah, we got a bunch of rock on particles. And Star Trek does this well. You mentioned to me earlier
Chronoton.
Yeah, chronoton. Chronos, time.
On particle.
So we know that
Chronoton.
it's a time particle. Chronotons always show up when we're doing time travel. We get it, and it doesn't hurt us. You also had that pet peeve about scaling and numbers.
Yeah, this brings me back to if it's highly Googleable, please Google it. So when you're talking about a distance that you have to travel, and it's not really relevant to the plot, please just Google what that distance should be. The size of a galaxy is not something you can just completely make up. Yes, there's a range, but especially if you're talking about the size of our galaxy, that's a known fact. You can't just choose one.
But you know what you can do? Google it.
Yup.
All we're saying is that every science fiction show, or even fantasy shows, really any show, like thrillers I think would benefit from this too, have one writer who also does other things. Just give this writer an extra task. TV show writers are already super overworked, they won't notice. Give them the task of going through the script, and anytime there's a number or a reference to an earlier date or something like that, they go and they Google to make sure it's okay. We'll watch fantasy shows where people are going like 500 leagues. And it's like, a league is about 3 miles. There's no way you're traveling 1,500 miles in a day. Like, you're just not gonna. If you don't know what a league is, Google it.
The other thing that I would recommend is, if you can, get yourself a science editor. And when I say get yourself a science editor, I'm sure someone can tell me why this isn't feasible or why it hasn't been done, but I really think that for something like Star Trek, you're a big franchise. You have a ton of fans. You have a ton of fans who happen to also be astrophysicists.
Yeah, you do.
You probably don't even have to pay them. I know you should pay people for their labor, but like,
Honestly, if I would be a science editor for Star Trek in exchange for credits and like a very small
early access to the script.
Oh yeah, early access to the script? Are you kidding me?
Find yourself an astrophysicist
you know how
who's
much
also a Trekkie, make them sign an NDA, send them the script, and they will come back to you with all of the edits you could possibly want, most of which won't alter the plot in any way, shape, or form. It'll just be, this number is wrong, it should be this number. It doesn't matter, it's in the technobabble.
Now, to be fair, this is a double-edged sword, because if you were to send them to a Trekkie with a physics background, say one of us, we would rewrite your script to make it better and more scientifically accurate, and really just better. 9 out of 10 of our conversations is taking a show that had a bad ending or an episode we didn't like and just rewriting it to make it better.
I'm looking at you, Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine, get a better final episode. Your last arc was so good. We loved every bit of your show. Kaiwin is the worst. Gul Dukat is somehow even worse. We love all of your characters. Quark and Odo's enemies with benefits relationship was amazing. You somehow sold Kira being straight with Odo. How did that happen? Also, Garashir. We can't not talk about Garashir. Garashir was amazing. We love Garashir.
But then Cisco had to get all spiritual and go off and live in a wormhole.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you don't have to have all the characters leave. You can just do a TNG where nothing changes but the series is over. People don't all have to leave. Fucking Cassidy. Cassidy got a sore deal.
She really did.
Like, Cisco left her and she was pregnant, and they set up Cisco as this amazing father, and then he just leaves Cassidy while she's pregnant.
to go be spiritual in a wormhole.
That destroyed his character. Give me socialist, communist, utopia, whatever system of government they have. Some people say it's communist, some people say it's socialist. But, like, if you actually watch the episodes, it's very clear the writers weren't really sure because capitalism still sort of comes into play. I'm not an economist, so my pet peeve wasn't about the economics of Star Trek, but it could have been. One exception to all of this, Expanse. Not only is their science phenomenal,
they actually do get the science right.
Yep, they have the science right on everything, except I guess the proto-molecule, but that's like the whole plot thing, and that's supposed to be a new thing, and they leave it mysterious enough that, like, getting the science wrong you don't notice because there isn't actually that much science. It's almost magical realism the way they do it.
And what's really important is it's very clear that they made an effort, because the things that are known, the way that gravity works, things like that, they pay attention to it, and they actually make it a part of the plot and a significant part of the setting. The fact that you can't accelerate as much as you possibly want because humans will, be squished.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Yeah, the medical issues you get from growing up in low-grav environments and then transitioning to high-grav environments and the implications of that.
And I should clarify, I really applaud them doing that.
Yeah.
I do not fault Star Trek, for example, for just saying, you know what, we don't want to deal with these weird acceleration issues, inertial dampeners.
Inertial dampeners, artificial gravity.
It's the far future.
Fine.
You're trying... You need to make the setting something that we can understand, and you need
something
to make
easy to film.
Yep.
I gotta say,
filming all of this in zero-G would be really hard, something that looks like zero-G.
Some of my favorite scenes in The Expanse are just the characters dealing with scientific realities. There's a brilliant scene in Expanse, I'm going to try to do this without giving any spoilers, where one character has to walk 4 feet, otherwise someone dies. It's an able-bodied character. Walking 4 feet shouldn't be hard, except the gravity on the ship keeps changing because the ship keeps accelerating in different directions because it's in a firefight. So while gravity keeps changing both in intensity and direction, this guy's got to move 4 feet. And it is one of the most compelling scenes.
Okay, this isn't an Expanse advertisement. Let's move on.
I love The Expanse. This should be an Expanse advertisement. It's great. Well, I have no idea where we edited that because that was just a ridiculously long conversation. But either way, thank you all for making it to the end. We will see you next week. Astra out.
Nova out.
Bye.
Astra, to the stars, to the stars.